And where were we?
Two big questions.
Who's we?
Why? By what authority?
So if you get a little bit stuck, just slip into one of those two all the time. So you can come up.
Conditional acceptance.
Conditionally accept upon presentation of a bona fide claim, subscribed on the undersigned's unlimited commercial liability. Or upon presentation of a bona fide claim.
The undersigned would be
that person. Yeah.
What they pay a lot.
But since they don't have one anyway, that might be where you're in a police station and we want a picture. Well, I'll be happy to give you one. You got a bona fide claim? That's another way to say that. Remember, there's only 375,000 ways to say each one of these conditional acceptances, all right? So don't get too stuck about this exact word or that. Try and get into the moment of what you're saying.
Make it your own.
Or make it, kind of flow. Don't get too structured. I conditionally accept, condition present upon present. It's the other side of it, the condition, confession and avoidance. Judge says, well, I think we're going to continue this hearing. I'd be happy to if there wasn't a show cause order in here demanding its attention or something to that effect. Conditionally accept upon proof of claim or are you suggesting that the record and pleadings of the parties which is accepted has not set off, settled, and closed this matter?
And do you never bring up the private side in there?
Well, I'm bringing it up.
In open court, you say the word on the private side?
Sure I do.
Okay.
I conditionally accept your offer upon proof of claim that the record and pleadings are you suggesting that the record that I've provided to you, which has resolved the matter in the private, still grants jurisdiction in the public to continue a matter already settled and closed? Kind of think what you're asking.
Because he's just trying to recontract with you in the public?
He's just trying to get you back in. Well, actually, he just wants to make sure that you know your position.
Yeah. Okay.
They want you to be successful, remember that. And you're not getting one iota of slack or one kudo for getting it either. Where that judge made that comment, she was on her way out.
Oh, right.
Remember that. My buddy in Chicago, the judge invited him to dinner and let him know that he had all the things that he'd done right, but didn't give him anything else. So the fact that it's clear to myself and others that in fact they want you to succeed, based on the fact that a democracy leads to anarchy. They're not stupid. I believe there's a principal understanding why they want you to succeed. But they're not men of lacking integrity. They're up there on the public side, and they're going to do their duty. And they're not going to cut you any slack. Remember, when law sits on the bench, you can forget mercy and justice. Because isn't your mother or father up there is going to be easy with you. Not going to be hard with you. They're not going to be mean about it. They're very professional people. If they think it's to their advantage to order you with a stern tone, they will. But generally, they're pretty darn professional. The chief judge that got me on the second case, she was just the softest, nicest chief judge I had. Man, she was good. And what have y'all decided to do? I said, Judge, I think we'll take your offer and plead to a charge in exchange for time already served and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And government, is that okay? Oh, sure. Judge, Miss Bergman, would you take the stand? Asked a few questions. Said he didn't do this, he wouldn't do that, he didn't do this. Any questions? Well, wasn't it set up, Miss Hall? Miss Berglund? Judge looked at me, Berglund looked at me, and I said, oh. She said, you can step down now. And you can go rest for about 6 months. It was that quick.
I missed that. What?
Judge said, that's enough. Miss Berglund, you can step down. And I don't think it took her all of 10 seconds to cite me essentially for contempt and give me 180 days in court for starting an argument.
How did you start the argument?
I asked the supervised release gal some questions. The matter was already settled. What did I open it back up for?
Yes, you turned it back into an argument.
Turned it back into an argument. When asked any questions, well-pled facts are all true there and not disputed.
Right.
That's all true what she said. Absolutely. Had I done that, I could hear the judge going now. You know something, Mr. Hall? We've had you in prison for 8 years. We let you out. We had to put you back in for 90 days. We let you out to see if you get in. We brought you in again for 4 more months. You know, there's something wrong with you. May I suggest you go see a psych? Because if I see you in here ever again, maybe we're going to try a few years on you again. Maybe another 8 or 10 years might do you some good. So just get out of my courtroom. Of course, the whole gallery would have heard, man, that guy's stupid. Got 8 years, and then tried him, you know, but I'd have got what I wanted. But as it was, I started an argument and got what I deserved. Thank goodness, because I learned some more stuff that I needed picking up. Just my luck. And I don't joke when I say it's my luck. Nor am I being facetious. Every 8 years, 10 months is a teens lengthy, but it's what it took with a hard-headed guy like me.
Now we'll benefit from that.
Yeah, because it's simplified for you. You understand the rules. It really is just as simple as that. All contracts, all coffer and acceptance, 4 doors to go through. Be soft and gentle. Don't argue, don't fight, don't explain, don't justify. That's door 4. Don't go silent. That's door 3. It's not so difficult. You just have to get a little bit of foundation under it and see a couple of them work. A gal today that called me earlier about the lawnmower, she goes, this stuff works, it works. You know, because she couldn't get their lawnmower back. But to see a simple, hello, how are you, notice work. You sure you want to keep my lawnmower for $9 grand? Kind of like the warden. You sure you want to keep the little chess set for 40 grand? He wanted to keep the chess set. The doctor didn't want to keep the lawnmower for $9 grand. And in fact, it might even, if he's was sincere about seeing those letters, if he took them to somebody, like I think, you know, somebody that's in the know commercially would take a look at that stuff and say, oh, this is not good. Just like when I said my ex had gotten, her husband had gotten a letter from the business partner, which I do have that letter here, I just don't have his response to it. But all that inflammatory stuff, somebody commercially wrote that. Wasn't something he came up with.
You don't want to put a frivolous number on there. Like 9,000 was a reasonable number. You don't want to make it 18. You don't want to make it 40.
Well, you know, that's a good question. What's a correct number? I see lots of them put billions and, you know, kind of silly numbers on them. Where do I have room to talk when we talk about 40 grand for a plastic chess set? 10 grand for the board, 20 grand for the pieces, because they're 20 pieces, you know, thing, and 10 grand for the trespass, what I thought was fair. And said, you know, if you want to take it, it's 10 for the board, 10 for the trespass, and 20 for the pieces. And he took it. And then I notified each of them others. That could be considered excessive, but, you know, at the time it didn't seem excessive to me. It worked out nicely. Was 10 grand for my time with Walmart? Absolutely. That's more than fair in my opinion. I don't need to. Now, if you want to mess me around, another 50,000 seems a little more in line. And so, yeah, being rational and reasonable in this, you know. I mean, are we not interested in trying to make sure everybody does the right thing as opposed to punishing them?
Didn't I think one of you guys said something about what happened with that $40,000 lien? That
What happened to it?
you traded that or something?
Yeah, I had an associate that had a dying wife in prison, and a warden, if they want, can give you a furlough up to like 30 days. And so he had cut a deal with the staff that if I'd take the lien off the warden, he'd get to go see his dying wife. And so he requested that I would facilitate it, and that was fine with me. After I danced him around for about a week on it, but, you know. But it was fine. So
How did you remove the lien?
just filed a release of lien with UCC Division Secretary of State's office.
And
It's just taken off, and he got notified. We notified him. I went up to him and said, "Was the lien removed?" He goes, "Yes." I said, "Good." Walked away. Hadn't spoken to him since and gone on, and never spoke with him again after that. Very professional guy. Didn't take it out on me. Didn't try and get even. That had been a real bad thing for him. So he learned, I learned, everybody benefited. Everybody did good with that. My goal wasn't to punish him per se. So when that opportunity came up, that seemed like the right thing to do. With Malwart, I wanted money. There wasn't some trade-off there for that deal. I didn't charge him the full 10, but I got more than my money's worth, so made it just enormously wonderful to have them deal in a professional manner. That's what's nice, though. All these people are really, rather believe it or not, you might not think they do, but they get the message. And you and I aren't the first ones that have run into with all this commercial stuff. And you can bet that rumor circulates heavy at that compound and other prisons.
Not even a rumor.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's hard to imagine such a thing happening. So, it's this commercial stuff. It's what it's all about. What's commercial? Because I encourage you, you need to spend time in the dictionaries. Your education will just rocket forward. If you would learn simply 1 or 2 new words a day and use it and ponder it, put it on the cue card, at the end of a year you essentially have learned an entirely new language, believe it or not. So you don't have to die at this, but I would recommend you find some time. I tell people that, in my opinion, a couple, 2, 3, 4 hours a day, at least 3, 4 days a week is going to be what's required to bring somebody out of the matrix a little bit. You all are already partially out, have some exposure to this. That's a little bit different. You have to get where you believe this stuff. And that's not going to be real easy unless you do a little bit of studying and some application. It's magical to see it, and it's not, just like my one buddy doesn't spend any time doing it, but when he had trouble at the post office one time, he kept asking questions and he was able to prevail on a particular matter. And then when he went down to the DMV and they wanted a social security number to get a driver's license for a guy 16, you got to renew it at 65 automatically. And by persisting, he was able to prevail and not have to give it, and see them do that was just magical for him. So you need to plan on using this. Try and use it with the supermarket teller, the bank teller, people that call you on the phone. Don't be afraid of these people that call from the banks on the phone and stuff. They're not going to bite you, and they're always usually polite. Rarely are they nasty, although I have heard. One of my students was on the phone with a particular bank and going back and forth, and pretty soon a third voice cuts in. "You borrowed the money, you owe it." It was some third party that was listening in with the bank. Just trying to provoke. If they can get an argument out of you, you become a debtor. Debtors never win. Creditors never lose. There's some exceptions, because if you got me suing you and we're both in front of some judge someplace, we're both debtors whining and complaining and doing. You have to decide, are you going to go on the private side to do this or on the public side? I've got a couple students that got some dealing with issues both in the public and the private. What do you need to... A judgment on your private side, going and getting a judgment against somebody and take about 35 days, is every bit as enforceable as a federal district court judgment or superior court judgment that comes out. How do we know? Look at the IRS. They never took you to a public court as you understand it. A few letters and pretty soon your bank account doesn't have any money in it. Or you have a lien on your house. Or notice of a lien on your home, correct? They didn't do that without giving you first some notices and some letters. The most important thing for you to remember is you cannot be uncivil in this stuff. Much like a certain supervised release guy says, I was worried it was you. Think about that. You think they were worried it was me that planted a bomb? Nobody'd spoken to me, nobody'd asked. Somebody was worried it was me? Please. That doesn't make any sense at all, does it? Whenever you've eliminated everything else, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. So, what say we try a little bit of practice with some of you? And do a little practical experience with a courtroom or a police stop or something like that?
Yeah.
Hammer him.
All right, John, come on up and sit down. You driving along.
You want a gun, John?
Yeah.
First shot's fired. You don't want that Jamie as a passenger.
Talking about you, John.
I see that. That's not me, though.
Woo! Woo! Good afternoon, sir.
May I help you?
Yes, you can. You just rolled through that stop sign right there. I see your license and registration.
May I see some identification, please?
I see your license and registration, please.
Are you refusing to show me your identification?
Sir, you just rolled through a stop sign,
And?
and that's a violation of the law.
May I see some identification, please?
Sir, he doesn't need to show you any identification.
Are you refusing to show me identification? Your identification?
Am I going to need to arrest you, sir? You're going to play with this silly Patriot stuff? Let me get back up. Jim, call back up in here, will you?
Absolutely.
All right. We've got a man over here that's being a smartass here.
Is this guy causing problems?
I think he is. I think
Are
he'd
you
like to
trying to
be
make this
arrested.
difficult?
And who are you?
Are you trying to make this
Sir,
difficult?
are you going to show me your license and registration, or you're not? Because if you're not, I'm going to have to arrest you and take you in.
I'd like to see some identification, please.
Or you can like to see all you want to see.
Are you
guys
are,
Well, it's with this guy, Ed. He just, wants to be difficult.
This guy trying to be
He's
difficult?
being difficult.
Oh,
I think he's going to have to be arrested.
you realize you went through a stop sign there in the school district.
And?
It's against the law. You violated the law. You can either give me your license and registration, or I'm going to arrest you.
May I see some
Sir, what is your name?
identification?
What is your name?
Is this one of these
Who
guys
are
that
you?
thinks he's above
May I
the
have
law?
your name, please?
May I see some identification from you, please?
Like I said, this is identification enough. We've got the car here. We're in uniform.
Are you refusing to give me identification?
My name is Officer Bradley,
Do you
sir.
have
May
a-
I have your name?
May I see your oath of office,
This is
please?
ID, right up. He doesn't have to take oath of office. You broke the law.
Oh, no.
You're either going to shoot. What do you say?
What did you say?
Let me tell you something. When they pull you over, they're going to bring some backup. They're going to knock on the window over there. What are you going to do when Officer Edwards knocks on the window over there?
Hopefully roll it down, I guess.
Yeah, roll it down. Can I
Roll
help
down the
you?
window, sir.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if I'd roll it down. I might crack it down and say, can I help you? Well, could you leave the window down? Would you like me to
Would you
leave the
step
window
out of the
down?
car, sir?
May I see some identification, please?
I've got
He's asking you to step out of the car. Are
Uh,
you going to cooperate, or are we going to have to haul you in? But we can do this the hard way if you want, sir. You rolled through a stop sign. You almost hit a child back there. And if you think you can get away with that, that isn't the way it works. This is just a simple traffic stop. Don't turn it into a big problem. Because if we arrest you, we're going to have your car towed and all of those things. Is that what you'd like to have happen?
We can be lenient on you if you just cooperate.
I don't think he wants to cooperate, Ed. So
Nor do I.
what do you think?
I don't think he wants to cooperate.
I'm going to give you
Sir,
one last
step out of
chance.
the car.
This is the last chance, sir. License and registration, or I'm arresting you.
We're willing to put in a good word with the judge.
I'd still like to see some identification, please.
Oh, that's fine. We'd like to see, but
You can
right
write
here, Officer Smith. Officer Smith's number 1 and
Junior.
Officer Smith number 2. That's our police car. This is our uniform. We're policemen. Now, if you want to be difficult, sir, we're just going to take you in and you can explain it to the captain down at the station, okay?
Are you refusing to give me your identification?
I just identified myself. What else do you want me to do? This badge, look, see? Officer Smith. Officer Smith 1. Officer Smith 2.
We just identified ourselves.
We just identified ourselves. Are you refusing to identify yourself?
I'm done.
You know what? They're going to wear you down.
Yeah, they are.
What about your conditional acceptance?
He was doing great for a long time. Then what they do is they'll get several and they'll start doing the threats, and pretty soon you'll start. Your mind just locks up. It's weird.
Or like the thing coming in from this, like, get out of the car. Should I do that? No.
But then-
Okay, there's one knocking on, and they'll roll up, and they'll have more cars, and they'll bring more guys, and there'll be more threats, and you just got to stay with it.
Yes.
And of course, you know,
But you didn't ask us for like a photo.
the other one
ID.
might be, am
Well, I
I
asked
under
for a oath
arrest?
of office.
Am I under arrest?
Yeah, I asked this one.
Am I under arrest?
Am I under arrest?
I just need you to wait till my captain gets here, my supervisor gets here.
I'll conditionally accept that upon $10,000 for every 5 minutes and I have to wait here.
Okay. My supervisor, and he starts saying, man, the threats will come. Are you ready to go to jail? Because they might take you in if you can't hold your mouth a little bit and get you a little confused, and big cop will be there, and he might even open the door.
Mm.
And you're going to start getting sphincter contraction, I want to tell you.
By what
Are you-
authority?
Did you guys give him the ID of the? You just showed your badge, but you didn't really
He
give
said,
him anything.
your identity? I said, Officer Smith.
But I asked for
Is
an
that
oath of
ID
office,
enough?
though. No.
I don't have to give you an oath of office.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You didn't have to
No.
give enough for office.
No, why do I got to give an oath of office?
Accept his oath of office as a contract. I accept your oath of office as a contract.
You never showed
That's
me
fine.
any.
Now let me see your ID.
Show him your sovereign life.
Dan, you get up there.
Yeah.
Your turn.
So that-
I'm just going to show my sovereign life.
It's okay. We're gonna let's change a little bit. Let's
So
just do it.
there's some stuff you're going to
But,
get.
I mean, just continue on with the...
Well, then you're going to arrest, and then you're going to make an offer. You want to see some ID. They're going to. It's not. It's going to be rather animating.
Yeah.
Now you may get tired after 20 minutes of this or thing. If I'm not under arrest, this concludes my business.
Uh-huh.
Produce your identification. Let me see your supervisor. Get your supervisor. This man refuses to. Are you going to refuse to identify yourself?
Okay, so then he shows him his ID.
You and the boom. Show the ID. Well, Officer Smith, now you've deposed him, removed him from office. It's going to get a little more fun after that. He says you ran the stop sign. Doesn't matter. You believe everything you hear? That's an argument, but I mean, I conditionally accept your offer. I ran the stop sign. You got a bona fide claim that I'm subject to your jurisdiction. Where's the contract that obligates me to not run a stop sign? Had I even ran one? Is he going to say you're driving a state car? So let's say you eventually give up because you can have a little fun. They just want to write your ticket, hand them a license registration. How are you going to sign it? You're going to sign it 45 degrees across the... You're going
Accept it for
to...
value.
Can you handle this? This is the ticket. Can you handle conditionally accepting? Conditionally accepted for value.
Oh, yeah.
Accepted for value. Returned for value on presentation of a bona fide claim or precedent of bona fide claims.
Presentation of the-
Yeah, there's all sorts of things you can put on it. He's going to say, no, sign it down here in the box, sir. Because he can't do anything with it without that. Are you compelling me to contract without permitting me the right of counteroffer? Well, this is not a contract or anything. I just need you to sign it. It's not a contract. I've had him tell me, it's not a contract. I promise to appear. That's not a contract. Sure it is. But they sit there and bald-faced lie about it.
Now, what about when I told him to roll down his window and he did what I told him to do?
That's not going to really hurt him. It's not like a judge's thing. I might roll it down. And he says, roll down. You know, I had one of them knock on the window. I just rolled it all the way down. I'm not going to do this crack thing and that kind of stuff and get into an argument about rolling. I roll down. Can I help you? Could you roll your window? Could you leave your window down? Would you feel more comfortable? Would it help you and make you feel more comfortable if I left the window down for you? Yes. Well, why don't I go ahead and do that? What else can I do for you, officer?
What if I put my hand on him and asked him to get out of the car?
Go. Assaulting you? Committing battery?
Why are you accosting?
Well, accosting is approach to speak to. He's done. He pulled you over. He told you what he pulled you over for. It's going to get interesting, and you have to see how long you want to hold on to it. Or, why do I need a license to travel?
Yeah.
You're in a state car, but he's not going to bring that up.
What about saying, this is not my vehicle, I do not own this vehicle?
Okay, what is that he just did?
Statement.
And
What door is the statement in?
4.
For argument.
It's important for us to understand. This is hard for a lot of people to
Would
get
it be
to.
alright that I travel with that?
Under argue in door 4 is making statements, explaining, justifying. Those are all under argument. If we looked in the dictionary and looked up argue, we'd find fighting and reasoning would take us to justifying and explaining would take us to reasoning, and all, and A equals B, B equals C, then A equals C. So if arguing is reasoning and reasoning is making a statement, then the statement is arguing. And you find that all those deals are kind of tough.
Or,
Where are you going? Yeah. I ain't done with you yet.
You're doing good, John. You are.
Let's do this. Well, he's on to us on the cop deal, so we're going to do some court stuff.
Yeah.
A little court stuff. So jump up, John.
Okay.
He's out in the gallery. Come on over here and sit in the gallery.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
We got the
Bar?
bar here. There's the bar. We don't have like double bat doors, but we got one. So we got all y'all in the gallery. We got Judge Hall up here, and we've got prosecutors sitting, and we've got other people sitting, and other attorneys. And I'd say is John in the courtroom? I'm going to call case 12235. Is what's your last name, John?
Chung.
Is John Chung in the courtroom?
Judge, I'm here as John Chung's third-party intervener.
Arrest that dude. He disrespects me sitting down when he's talking.
Oh, you have to stand up? You have to really stand up.
I'm sitting up on a podium. I am here today as John Chung, intervener, for the purpose of helping the parties settle all claims and charges outstanding. Come on in, Mr. Chung. We can get this case started.
Your Honor, would it be possible for me to...
Mr. Chung,
Enter the court.
Mr. Chung, just come on in.
Your Honor,
Mr.
I'm
Chung.
John. I'm here.
Mr. Chung, are you refusing to conduct the business of this court?
Your Honor, I'm here as John Chung, third-party intervener, for the purpose of settling and discharging all matters.
Well, you can't settle or discharge anything. This is my court. I do that. So we have a case against you. Now, you're either going to come into the bar, or do I need to have an arrest warrant issued for you?
Your Honor, I'm here as John Chung, third-party intervener, to settle and discharge all matters.
Officer Smith, just arrest this guy. come to the bar over here so we can conduct business? Do you want to be arrested?
Your Honor, I'm here
Just
as
arrest
John
him.
Chung.
You're going to be arrested. Oh, his ass lady. So let's get. You're there to help the party settle all claims or charges. You can't settle it. You're just to help the party settle all claims or charges. Interesting thing, when you're in court, and this happened to the one of the docks. We'll try this one. We'll go ahead and be on it. Come here, officers of the court. Come on up here. Come up to the edge of the bar, John. Come on up to the edge of the bar. Okay, we'll start this over. Here you guys.
Cross anything.
Johnny.
No, don't touch it. I got my two bailiffs here. This is a case with John Chung. Mr. Chung in the courtroom.
Your Honor, I come as John. I'm here as John Chung.
I'm here today as
John Chung, third party
intervener
intervener
for the
for the purpose of settling.
Mr. Chung, come on in.
Case.
Come on up there in the bar. Let's get this case started.
Your Honor, I'm here as John Chung, third party intervener.
Okay, fine. No problem. Come on in.
Would it, Your Honor,
That's right.
would it be all right if I step into the?
All right.
No, I can't do that.
Go sit back in the audience. Come on up here, Dan the man.
Oh,
Across the bar.
I did do it. Should have went under the table.
Court case. What's your last name, Dan?
Bellingham.
Court case today is Dan Bellingham in the courtroom.
I'm here today, Your Honor, as Dan Bellingham, third party intervener.
Okay. Come on forward. We got of course to get started.
Would you
Come on in.
mind if I enter into the bar under said terms and conditions?
It's okay. Yeah. Come on in. Mr. Bellingham, you've been charged with delinquency. Been out drinking, partying, carrying on. How do you want to plead?
I plead insanity.
You can plead guilty or not guilty. How do you want to plead?
There's another term to use instead of pleading.
Why not go ahead and enter a not guilty plea for you if you don't know what you're going to do? All right?
Is there not something else instead of saying that you can do?
Help your stuff.
Okay. I plead not guilty.
Help this guy's a cakewalk, through, Dan, the man, through.
Well, I'm thinking there's something else you do instead of saying guilty or not guilty. And I forget the term.
Wouldn't be nil debit, would it?
Nil debit?
Hold on. Why would you even plead?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I don't want to plead anything.
Well, you're going to, because you're kind of like all upside down. Go sit down again.
Okay.
Who here wants to think they can handle it? Want to give it a try?
No, we need somebody with some more oompa.
Any bad boys here?
Yeah, I know who we need in here.
I'll try it. I don't know if it'll work,
We
but
got
I'll
us a
try it.
skirt.
We're getting scared over here.
Case today with Mrs. Juanita Chung. Is Juanita Chung in the courtroom?
Your Honor, I'm here as Juanita Chung, intervener, for the purpose of helping all parties settle and close all matters.
For the purpose of helping the party settle all claims or charges outstanding?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Great. Are you going to be representing yourself, or are you going to have an attorney do it for you, Mrs. Chung?
Your Honor, I'm here as Juanita Chung, intervener, for the purpose of helping all parties settle and close all
Great. And
charges.
are you going to represent yourself in this matter then? And you want me to have appointed attorney to you?
Your Honor, I'm here today as Juanita Chung, intervener, for the purpose of helping all parties
That's
settle
fine.
and
How are we going to settle it if I don't know, you're going to use an attorney, you're just going to do this yourself? I'll accept that you're going to do it for yourself, Mrs. Chung. Come on in.
Your Honor, I'm here as Juanita Chung, intervener, for the purpose of helping all parties settle and close all charges and claims in the
Juanita's missing what we're talking about here. She's stuck on that. Okay, great. If it please the court, may
If
I
it
enter
please
the
the
bar
court,
under
may I
such terms
enter?
and
Yeah, I was going to
conditions?
continue, but yeah.
If it please the
You
If
were
it
going to
please-
continue,
I
but
was-
you didn't continue. Mrs. Chung.
Your Honor, I'm here as
What?
Juanita Chung,
You talking
intervener.
what?
Intervener. I'm here as Juanita Chung, intervener. To help. It is different when you're up here. To help all
And if
parties.
you think this is stressful, what are you calling it a real thing?
I know.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So, if it please the court,
If
may
it
I
please
enter
the
the bar
court,
under
may I
such
enter the
terms
bar
and
under
conditions?
such
Sure,
terms
come on
and
in. Hold it. I can hear you just fine out there. Mrs. Chung, you have an attorney.
Your Honor, I'm here as Juanita Chung, intervener.
That isn't going to help. Come on,
Hey.
you're stuck on that.
Okay.
Do you have an attorney to help you out with this stuff, Mrs. Chung? Because I sense that you're going to hurt yourself. And rather than you hurt yourself, if you need Dan, standby counsel, why don't you come on up and help Mrs. Chung, okay? Ms. Chung, Dan, the man, is going to help you today.
Your Honor,
He's just standby.
Your Honor,
He's just, hold
I'm
on a
here.
minute. Ms. Chung, I'm
Your
talking. This
Honor,
is my courtroom.
I'm here as
You see
Juanita
her?
Chung.
You see what she's doing in my courtroom? That's going to get you a contempt charge. Your Honor, Your Honor,
Okay.
let him finish talking. These judges are going to talk over you a lot. Patience. Mr. Dan, the man's ready to.
I
I'm gonna appoint him as your
conditionally
counsel.
accept your honor, your offer, under conditions that Mr. Bellingham accept private compensation and will stand in as surety for the defendant. And
Well, I can't
and
do
have it approved in writing.
Mrs. Chung, I can't do that. This court takes care and pays these cases. So, rather before you hurt yourself, you need some counsel here, and I'm willing to go ahead and appoint him for you. Or just stand by. He's not your attorney. You don't have to use him, all right? That
Your
way,
Honor, as
if you,
intervener-
I'm talking, Mrs. Chung. You mind not interrupting me? Would that be all right, Mrs. Chung? If you don't interrupt me?
Your Honor, I'm here as Juanita Chung, intervener.
She's not being very polite. I mean, she just cut me off. She's just so locked
Well,
up.
you just
she's
asked
gonna-
me a question.
I
You
did.
just- yeah,
Would it
so
be
I
all
was
right if you
answering.
not be rude in my courtroom, ma'am?
Yes.
Forgive me, Judge.
Forgive me, Judge.
Jeez. Think about what he's saying. Don't get stuck on trying to just say one thing. You got a little problem. Now, Mrs. Chung, I suggest you get an attorney before you hurt yourself.
I'll accept your offer, Your Honor, under condition that the attorney stands in as surety for the defendant, as well as accepts
Well, I can
private
let you,
compensation.
would you like me to just let you go ahead and hurt yourself?
Your Honor, I'm here as Juanita Chung, intervener,
And?
so I don't know how the defendant would hurt themselves if I'm the intervener.
Are you here to settle this or you're not, Mrs. Chung?
I'm here to help all parties settle and
Well, how are you going to do this if you don't even... Do you know the court rules here? Because if you don't know the court rules, how are you going to do this? Do you realize that you need to follow court etiquette? You're in my courtroom. Court etiquette prevails, Mrs. Chung. That means you don't interrupt me.
forgive me.
And if you know how to do what you need to do and settle this, then I suggest you do it. So tell me. I don't want you getting hurt, Mrs. Chung. Because you can hurt yourself here. And I'm trying to keep that from happening. And I have Mr. Dan Bellingham. He's not your attorney. But I can appoint him for technical counsel if you need a little help. That way you don't hurt yourself. In the meantime, we can go ahead and proceed forward. So, come on in.
Your Honor, I'm here as Juanita Chung, intervener, for the purpose of helping all parties settle and
I
close.
just offered her an attorney, and what did she do?
Oh, you just told me to come on in.
She
She
agreed.
ignored it.
Hey,
You just
okay,
agreed
wait,
with
wait,
me.
wait. Do you want me to come in, or do you want me to address the attorney?
You gotta respond to his offer.
Okay.
What do I want you to do? Judge is going to get you all rattled up.
Yes, definitely.
He's going to get you all confused.
I'm rattled. Okay. Next.
Well, hold on. No, you're okay.
Oh, God.
It's quite all right. You know what's
Yeah, you got
scary?
these two big guys here standing here. I'm
Well,
like,
you know what's
okay,
going
Your
to
Honor.
be? What's really going to be
Wait till they
scary?
got guns on them.
No, hold on. Stand over here, Bill Bailiffs. You know what's really going to be scary? Come on up here. Just let's put the bar up here a little bit further. Step right up to the bar. We've got two attorneys. What happened to Bruce Marusik here recently? The judge is trying to put us saying, I am here today as Bruce Marusik, intervener. So try it one more time on me. Mrs. Chung, come on in the bar. Or you do me I suggest you get in a attorney bar. She comes off with this one more time. Mrs. Chung, if you don't respond to my question, I'm going to take you into custody as being in contempt. Who are you? Start moving in.
I'm here as Juanita Chung, intervener,
And that's what happened to Marusik.
for the purpose of helping all parties.
So when you don't identify, that's the question, and that's good. Marusik shut his eyes and repeated again, and the two guards were moving in on him. He said, Gordon, I just shut my eyes and repeated it. And then the judge went on and said something else. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, when you start getting a bunch of guys standing around in court and stuff, you're just getting this stress. You're going to go into stress mode.
Yeah, you guys are my friends, so that was really wild.
And you start not hearing things and seeing things, and you don't understand what the judge said. And all sorts of stuff, and you have to try and listen. So this is where you're going to need to do some practicing. And believe it or not, just practicing with your little fake bars. And Marusik's in there, and these guards are coming in. I've had some other friends where they're surrounded by 6, 8, 10 guards. Now, let's go to the police station. Have a seat there, Juanita, at the police station. This is not going to be a lot of fun. Come on, you three guards.
Gordon,
Come on, guard.
before we jump ahead,
What would the guy have done?
the answer to the question
Which one?
that I'm prepared to give you an attorney, would you say, are you saying I cannot resolve this matter directly? Is that the question? The answer to that question?
Sure.
How
I
would
suggest you, Mrs. Chung, I suggest you get an attorney before you hurt yourself. Are you suggesting I can't resolve this matter directly without an attorney receiving public benefits? And then, like my first time, the judge goes, no, and I just went, I didn't know what to say.
Right. Okay, what's next? You said that.
Now remember, I had done my private settlement. I put all my stuff in. I'm in on revocation of probation. So I had something in there. What I needed to have then said was simply, are we ready to adjourn this hearing and submit this matter under law? Under what? Contract. My contract. To an issue of an order to discharge the United States claims or charges and discharge the defendant from any further public liability or duty in the matter. You had your thing set, so the judge asked me, I said, Mr. Hall, I suggest you get an attorney before you hurt yourself. I said, are you suggesting I can't resolve the matter directly without an attorney receiving public benefits? He goes, no. Kind of blew me up. I didn't know what to say. But that didn't cause me any harm because he still didn't get me. Remember that keeping the questions going can keep going unless you get really stuck on incorrect kind of questions. You know, you're now saying stuff, if you're here to settle the matter, then settle it. Or like with John Stewart. He's standing there, and let me tell you, when you get two great big old officers, like about that much over you, or you get 6 of them and they're all standing there, let me tell you, you're starting to panic. It's just an instinctive thing. And they do that. You go into... Huh? Yeah. So here we go. We're going to be in a police station.
Can I ask you just one question about it? Supposing Juanita had asked you that, are you suggesting that, etc., how would the judge have, when after the judge had said no, where would the process have gone?
No, I should have responded and said, great, are we ready to submit this matter under law to an issue of an order to discharge the United States claims or charges and discharge the defendant? Are we ready to look at the private records, what I'm saying?
Can you say that in an easier way? Because that's a lot to remember.
Yeah, that's really what
Okay,
When you're under stress, there's got to be a simpler way to say
as you
that.
practice this, it will come to you what you're doing. Let me give it another way.
But when you go to court, you can.
He says no. Well, great. Are we ready to submit the matter under law and have done with it, Judge?
What if he says no?
Are you suggesting that? Are you suggesting the record that has been provided, which has resolved the matter privately, still grants jurisdiction in the public to continue a matter already settled and closed? Because remember, why do we have public officers? Why do we have to go to court or get arrested and stuff?
Because the parties can't resolve.
Because the parties can't resolve it. But if I did my private stuff,
Public witness.
Confirmation.
right, I settled it with the other party with the paperwork. They don't agree it is, but their actions say it was, right? Not what they say. So all of a sudden, we're into court. I know the matter's been settled. He doesn't have a reason to keep this going in the public except to test me. So I'm seeking ratification or confirmation of my agreement.
Public record. Right.
No, he's not public record. I'm seeking public ratification.
Making it into a record.
I don't know if he's going to make it into a record or not. That's not my concern. All I want him to do is say it. Whatever he does with his books, I don't care. I just want out of there.
So I could just say, has this record not been settled?
Hasn't the matter already been? Are you
settled?
suggesting that that there's public jurisdiction when there's no controversy, Judge? Based on the record? Don't you have the record shows there's no controversy, Judge? Why would there be a? Is there not only the only reason to continue this in the public is to ratify? Are you ready to ratify the agreement between the parties? He says no. Then you might say, are you ready to ratify the agreement between the parties, which has resolved the matter? Right? Because you got to remember, he's only there for what? If you haven't resolved it. So what's the issue?
Are you double-minded?
So that's a simpler one. Are we not ready to have? Are you ready to ratify the record that's been submitted, Judge? Or are you ready to ratify the record and pleadings of the parties which has resolved the matter in the private? I don't want to get out and say, are you ready to ratify it in the public? I kind of want to keep it down low a little. I don't want to front him off. Are you ready to ratify the record and pleadings of the parties which has resolved this matter? Isn't that short? Do you understand what you're asking there? But if you don't have a record that ratified it, or a record that settled it, like a certain guy going in, his ex-wife charged him with the thing, he goes into the court, I'm here as so-and-so intervener to resolve the matter. Well, he hasn't resolved it on the private side, so there's nothing for him to talk about. Because the wife said, I want more money, and he went on in. Without...
Could he not say, Judge, can you give me time to pursue all my administrative remedies?
There is a time for that. And that time came long past. Remember, now estoppel's coming in. I gave a summons to Mrs. Chung. Mrs. Chung didn't bother going to the prosecutor over here and settling it. So when Mrs. Chung came in, she can't sit there and say, I'm here today as intervener for the purpose of helping the party settle all claims or charges.
So you got a friend.
Because what did she do with this? All I can see is that she accepted this. And I got this. I sent this out to Mrs. Chung. She normally puts it in her pocket and shows up with an attorney or just herself. And now she's going to resolve. Wait a minute. All I know is she didn't answer my thing. Now, if she'd have conditionally accepted my offer from the court upon condition that the record attached herewith, which is accepted, has not settled the matter already, then my offer to her was conditionally accepted. I'm the court. Remember, I'm the judge and the clerk and all that.
Well, let's take a typical guy who learns that you were starting to do this, and he all of a sudden, I got to go to court tomorrow. Ignores it, does what everybody else does, ignores it, and then
Okay.
he says, okay, can we not go to the court and say,
Okay, now he
"Forgive
has
me"?
some of this, right?
He's just learning. He's a buddy
Has
of
he-
yours, and you told him you got to.
Has he pled out yet? Has he pled out, or what are we here on?
No,
Tell-
he's showing up for
Civil
for
or
summons.
criminal?
Well, aren't they both commercial?
Yes, but characterize civil or criminal. Has he
Well,
been
make it
charged
up,
with
so-
something? Are we here on a divorce deal or what?
Let's say civil, divorce.
Okay, so
But he waits to the last minute and then realizes he's got to do something.
okay, so now Mrs. Chung, who is showing up because her ex-husband Gordon wants more money out of her. She's a worker and I'm not, and I need some more money. She's got it and I don't. I want it, so I sue and give it to my brother, the judge over here, and he's got it. He shipped it over to her. She's coming in, and I'm over here standing here with my attorney, waiting for Mrs. Chung to defend herself. She hasn't done anything but agree to do this. The judge is going to say, well, Mrs. Chung, you were served a summons. Latches and estoppel's going to start coming in here. She might be able to say, Judge, I request an abatement of proceedings pending an administrative proceeding by me to settle this matter. She could do that. But she hasn't gone to me and my attorney and asked first. So she's now in there at this last minute doing that. And she probably would be able to get away with it if she knew how to handle herself. Judge, forgive me. And brother, forgive me. I've been a little remiss in my duties.
Right.
I'm requesting abatement of these proceedings pending an administrative proceeding by me to settle the matter, so I don't waste valuable public resources. He's got to do that.
Right.
I don't know what it would be like doing it at the last second. However, one of my other clients did it the day before. On that federal Cincinnati docs, they did it the day before, and it was approved. It was very interesting.
The burden, like the court says, we need a summons, it's paper, right? And then
It's an offer.
she's got to conditionally accept it and send it back to you and photocopy it to the prosecutor.
She's got it. Well, no, she doesn't have to. She has 4 doors to go through. She just gets to choose one of them.
Okay, but she wants to conditionally accept it to go back into court so that it's on you, have it in front of you that she's done that part of it. She has responded to your offer. To just walk into the courtroom and not have responded with paper, which always seems important to the courts, right? They like paper.
Can't see anything, right?
Yeah, so if she doesn't do it, so if she just wanders into the courtroom having not responded to your summons and conditionally accepted and sending it back to the court, that's the necessity.
Now she needs time to get this thing settled, so she's going to be there.
Yeah, the necessity when she comes into court, and having done that, that's the first thing we need to do. Conditionally accept the offer, send it back, and then if she appears in court, you as a judge...
Well, it's going to be a little hard. She's already there. She came in. This has already gone by. So I'm going to say, I'm going to call the case, and I'm the judge, and I call the case, and I say, Mr. Chung versus Mrs. Chung, case number 3357. And the attorney, Smith over here, is going to get up and say, Attorney Smith appearing behalf on Mr. Chung, plaintiff. Mrs. Chung better stand up and say, I'm here today, Judge, as Juanita Chung, intervener, to help the parties settle all claims or charges outstanding. Forgive me, Judge. I was a little remiss in my duties in responding to the summons. I'm here today. I'm requesting abatement of these proceedings pending an administrative proceeding by me to settle the matter.
And that if she hadn't responded to your summons.
Yeah, if she hadn't responded, she's now in there. I call the case. Mr. Smith stands up on behalf of Mr. Jones, or Mr. Chung, and
Public
Mrs.
defender.
If Mrs. Chung doesn't have it, I'm going to say, well, Mrs. Chung, you want to represent you? And she could counter with the simple, Judge, forgive me for my remissness. I'm requesting, I don't care, you just go around remiss us about what? Whatever. Responsibility and duties. I'm requesting abatement of these proceedings pending an administrative proceeding by me to settle this matter. That's an offer to the judge. Well, I suggest, Mr. Mayor, I'm requesting an abatement of proceedings pending an administrative proceeding by me to settle this matter. I might apologize actually to Mr. Smith.
Previous to that, have we gone through the routine of I'm here as the intervener, not crossing the bar, not doing any of that? That's all been gone through, and then it gets to the point where you're asking a question about, and she responds, I'm here, I'm asking for an abatement of proceedings to settle all matters. That would come a little later in the process, right?
I might, as a judge, say, well, Mrs. Chung, she's out in the audience, and stand up, Juanita. So I've got Mr. Smith, and come over here, Mr. Chung. I'm the judge up here, and I've got Mr. Chung a thing, and she's outside the bar. I'm saying, Mrs. Chung, do you have an attorney with you today?
Your Honor, I'm here as Juanita Chung, intervener.
I'm just simply asking, do you have an attorney here with you?
I'm here.
She needs to deal with what the judge is asking. I know.
I don't know what to say
He said,
right now.
this is where confession and avoidance may come in. She could come up and say, now she could say, Judge, because the judge wants to know if she's got an attorney with her today. Obviously she doesn't, so that's sort of a silly question. He already knows the answer to it, doesn't he? So that must not be what he really wants out of her. She might, after she's introduced herself, do you have an attorney? Judge, I'm requesting abatement of these proceedings pending an administrative proceeding by me to settle this matter. Just straight to confession and avoidance. I don't have an attorney, but she brought up something else that neutralizes, obviates my comment to her. Say, she can't stick on what she was doing. Not in this instance. And it won't come to you right away, but just as a little flavor for it. You know, it gets what I wanted you to feel, and John, and you did really good in the beginning, John. You did really good. You stood up with confidence one evening, you said that. And then it gets past square one, and it starts to, you're like past square 3 or 4, and it starts to get a little hairy. Past square 1 or so got a little hairy for you, and it's all right. You'd be silly to think it would be any different. You've been imprinted. Do you think you can just like that? No. This is where some practice is going to be requisite for success. Going to some court hearings and watching people happen, and then try and decipher what's really going on. And that comes from just the court transcripts we've got. You can hear these guys coming in these cases. We got the 11-pager. We now have the 60-pager on their second one, and those docs did real great for the first 20 minutes. Then they fell apart after that. Kind of like you did good the first 3-4 minutes, and then you fell apart. The docs made it 20 minutes because they didn't know where they're going with it. And this is where I said to Jack a recent thing. I said, you know, they come over with these fire and all these different things that you need these conditional acceptance you're trying to think of. I'm saying, Jack, I think we need to just get stuck on stupid. I'm here to abate the proceeding. I'm wanting to. After that, Judge, I'm requesting an abatement of proceedings pending an administrative proceeding by me to settle this matter. Because we know how something's going. He's going to be saying his thing.
About,
administrative proceedings. Pending an administrative proceedings.
Yeah. Let me ask you, you know, we got a question here. Question I want to hear. The police, can they lie?
Yes.
Lawfully and legally? Do you know the Supreme Court ruled they can do that?
Not on the road, right?
We're talking about a roadside stop, police and stop.
So you're not on the road there.
Is there anything wrong with them lying to you? Yes and no. You know, one, we don't like it, but two, why are they lying? Because they're fulfilling their job to try and protect you from hurting yourself. Guy's going to say, look, promise you nothing's going to happen. We're not going to arrest you. Just get out of the car, sir. And blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden they might be doing it to you. All right?
We need to do more practicals, I think, with some more people. Are we going to have a chance to do that?
We've
Or?
got all day now. Yeah.
Sure, we got some more
Yeah,
time.
but we-
Once you got that point of having gone through, I'm here as.
Well, let me ask
go
you-
through that, and then you get to the part where you're asking questions. Are we then supposed to, like with the abatement, you as a sovereign, king or queen, are asking the question? You're always answering the question.
Well, let's take for example John Stewart's deal. Let me put it to you in another one. This is really kind of cool. I mean, attorneys, come on up here, Edward. Okay, let's do it this way, guys. How was John Stewart? You're going to be the prosecutor. So I'm going to call the case. You're going to stand up and introduce yourself on behalf of the prosecution. You're going to be the public defender, and you're going to say, I'm here today, appearing for the defendant, Juanita Chunk, who's over there in the gallery. All right? So. Okay, Juanita, we're going to get ready to call the case. This is a criminal case. This is a criminal case, i.e. John Stewart's murder trial. We're just going to replace. You're going to be John Stewart. All right?
Okay.
All righty. Case number 3777. State of Arizona versus John Stewart.
Your Honor, Jamie Gregg for the prosecution.
Your Honor, David Smith. I'm here to represent the defendant today, Juanita Chung, right over here in the gallery.
Okay, great.
Your Honor, I'm here as John Stewart, the intervener, for the purpose of helping all parties settle and close all charges outstanding.
Help the parties settle all
Claims and charges outstanding.
You're the defendant.
Your Honor, I'm here as John Stewart for the purpose of helping all parties.
We can beat these people. You just.
They're helping all parties settle and close.
You are the defendant.
Your Honor, I'm here as John Stewart, intervener, for the purpose of helping all parties settle and close
That's what happened in
all
John
charges.
Stewart's deal. This public defender who had no case doing it says, public defender for John Stewart, defendant, is over here in the gallery.
Was that a setup?
Oh, absolutely.
Initially, like the judge after he set that up?
Yes, absolutely. Remember, they need John Stewart to take a public defender. This is a murder case, and he's holding his mud. And so, when they call the case, Mr. Stewart better stand up because we've got other people standing inside the bar. She's outside the bar. He was outside the bar. And he's the intervener. He better stand up. And Jamie's here as prosecution for the state, appearing on behalf of the state. Prosecutor, public defender Edward, for the defendant John Stewart, who's over in the gallery. He ain't talking to her yet. He's not pointing at her. He just said over in the gallery, whoever that means.
Oh, so like over in the gallery.
And so, and Juanita, or Mr. Stewart here says, and I'm here today as John Stewart, intervener, for the purpose of helping the parties settle all claims and charges outstanding. And the judge said, you're the defendant. And John says, I'm here today as John Stewart, intervener, for the purpose of helping the parties settle all claims and charges. And he got a little more vociferous. You're the defendant. And John came right back again. Do you have a copy of the blah, blah, blah? And then the judge went on. Now, in the very first case, Mr. Stewart was actually in the bar, so come on in the bar, Mr. Stewart.
Can you just explain to me how that was a setup? Because I just
Yes.
don't get that.
It was a setup in that the public defender, Mr. Johnson, she has not agreed to have him. And every time that he's got his foot into her life, we put in some paperwork that said that where he gave us something, or he said he was the thing, he sent a letter that he's the public defender. We put in a conditional acceptance upon condition that we conditionally accept the public defender, John Johnson or Jeff Johnson, upon condition that 1, he received private compensation payment, 2, he's converted on all liability as surety for the defendant, or accepts suretyship for the defendant, and 3, that the court approve it in writing.
Can you explain what that means?
Surety?
Being a surety for the defendant?
Well, he stands in for the defendant.
Surety is responsible, liable. Remember, you're not Keith.
Right.
But when you say you're Keith, you just became surety for Keith. Surety.
Does that mean financial as well? Does it mean-
Yeah, in every way, responsible or liable. All right.
So could he go to jail for him then too? That's the
He's
surety.
going to jail for him.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So in other words, you're saying that the defendant would be willing to go to jail for...
I'm saying this public defender, I'm happy to accept him. If he's going to step
If he
in,
wants to step in.
instead of me being Gordon Hall, he's Gordon Hall, the surety. I'm not the surety anymore. He's the surety.
Okay.
He ain't doing that for his life.
That's what I was getting at.
So you'll
Just wanted
accept it?
Real words.
Yeah, you'll accept the offer.
Real words,
You'll
okay.
do that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah.
Which you know they're not going to do.
On condition, on the following.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
one that-
Private compensation for his time in the matter.
Or just private compensation.
Would the word
payment,
fiduciary
and then
be
this is
Payment.
the private rate of
effective,
payment,
or
and
would
then
be-
that the court
Nah, we
can
want him
go
as surety. It's
And,
Proverbs 11:15. He that is surety for a stranger shall smart for it. The term stranger is defined as one from another country. Is Gordon Hall from another country? What country is he from?
California,
The other Gordon Hall's from what country?
United States.
United States. That's right. So the judge, I know, can't talk to me as a natural man. He's only talking to Gordon Hall, the legal entity, the straw man. He can't talk to me as Gordon Hall, the private guy. He can only talk to me as Gordon Hall, the public guy, initially. So when he's talking, or you introduce yourself, that was an offer to him. But when I say that, number one, you don't have to do the surety thing if you don't want to. Private compensation payment. That means the court's paying him right now. If I pay him, he has to be working for me, and his loyalties come to me.
Well, that handout that you gave us about the lawyer and an attorney, that even if you pay them, their first duties are to the court anyway. Isn't that right?
I'm not hiring him on that basis.
Okay.
If I went out and hired an attorney with Federal Reserve notes, whose officer is he? Still the courts. All I'm using is I'll accept him for as you know. I conditionally accept your offer to have a public defender if he'll accept private compensation payment. The judge would be happy to let me go hire an attorney to come in.
So what is private compensation payment?
Yeah, I'll just make you out a promissory note or a bond or a bill of exchange or something like that drawn on my exemption number. That brings him back into the real world as opposed to the fiction world. He's no longer dealing for the public. He's on the private side, and he can't do that. The only people who are going in that public arena are public people. The judge will figure out where he's going to ratify our stuff, and it's not going to be in an open courtroom. Open meaning public. It might be in the courtroom, but when it does, it'll be a closed courtroom. It'll be his chambers.
When you say his chambers, that's not a different room? That's
It
the
can
same
be a
room?
different room, but just like, remember when I told you, I said everybody seated, stay seated, no standing, take a seat. We were then in chambers, out in that open courtroom.
But there's no, the public's not allowed in there. If we're
At
all
that
just
point-
sitting in there, it's like you guys.
At that point, then the judge told me when I was sitting in there as a private guy, I said, man, he said, come on in, Mr. Holland, just come on in. Because everybody was seated, it wasn't the bar didn't exist, so to speak.
It'd be interesting to see you write a script for Law and Order and then see it on TV.
Oh, yeah, that'd be wild. It would be fun to do a TV program with this.
Yes, which is
You know,
never
it's-
ever going to happen.
Don't be so sure.
YouTube.
Don't be so sure.
Record us on YouTube.
Gordon, in chambers, it switches over to private. And
Yes.
does it become common law court in that instance?
No, it's just private.
It's just private.
Let's not get caught up in a common law court, everybody. We would need to be in a common law court. A common contract court? Nah, because it has very rigid forms and stuff attached to it. We're not interested in that. I just want to be in a law court, in law or in equity.
But when you're in the court and, like, say, and you're brought from the back, you're in the holding cell, right? You're brought out and you're
Yes, you're brought from the side.
Your glassed-in area, and you're standing there. Are you outside the bar?
I really don't know. It's an interesting one. Because last time when they come to the door and they have you walk into the room. You know, you're in a jail cell. You're walking right into the bar from the side is what you're talking about, which I understand. When I did last time, what you have to do is, if it please the court, may I enter the bar as intervener to help assist the parties. You know, you're speaking to the judge that's up there. You're standing. Here's the doorway, and the marshals let go of you to get you to walk in. Me, I stopped here, and they just told me to go on in. I'm trying to speak to you. They just grabbed my arm and walked me in. And as soon as they touched my arm, I walk with them. They take the arm off, I stop. But they walk me right over to the podium, which is okay, from my point of view.
So that was just a little safeguard on your part to determine where you were.
Because I didn't understand where I really was. You know, I'm coming in from the side. I know what to do coming in from the public side, outside in the gallery. And I'm going, God, I'm coming in from the side. You know.
Are they allowed to touch you?
Well, in that case, you know, where I hadn't at that time, I should have said to the judge, Judge, may I enter the bar as intervener to help the party settle all claims or charges outstanding in this matter? Or I could have said, Judge, I'm here today as Gordon Hall intervener for the purpose of helping the party settle all claims or charges outstanding. May I, if it please the court, may I enter the bar under said terms and conditions? And the judge would have said yes or no or whatever. I don't know what would have happened. Instead, I stopped it there, said something to him. He just grabbed my arm and took me back, put me in, which I don't think hurt anything. Because obviously I didn't voluntarily walk in, so it was a little bit different. Well, I wasn't doing everything right, but I didn't hurt myself. So, and they're going to need more than just an entering of the bar to generally get you, okay? So something like where you're brought in from the side or something. This goes to like when you go to a police station and they're taking you in, oftentimes they'll let you go and have you just walk into the police station with their hands off you. When I went into Terminal Island, they have double fences going in. I got off the bus and I'm doing my back and forth with them. Pretty soon the bus driver grabs the belly chain on the back and there's 5, 6 guys and we all walk through the first gate. And there's another one up by the chair, actually a little further away. So this guy's got the chain. We're all just walking calmly. I'm not doing anything. They're walking me up. And then just before we get to this gate, they all stop and the bus driver goes, "Are you going to keep being violent?" I said, "I'm not being violent." It's a natural instinct. They took their hands off and I just walked in with them.
That's 1, 2. Right?
So, sort of, yeah. They still didn't have it, but I was really in a rock and a hard place, between Scylla and Charybdis. So, the situation there you're going to be taken into a police station potentially. You don't want to just walk in. They'll keep a hand on you, and so if they walk you into the police station, it's kind of interesting. So if you're like they had me sit down, and pretty soon you're going to have 6, 8 guards around you, and they'll start firing questions at you, and they might even reach down and pull your shoes off, which they did, which is disconcerting to an adult or anybody. It's sort of like a minor rape. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
It's just a disconcert. You're sitting there barefoot, and adults don't always run around in public places barefoot. So it's a disconcerting moment. Now, it didn't bother me any, but nonetheless, it will happen to you. And pretty soon they might take you over here 20 feet over, and there's some people in white coats, and they'll do like we were doing here with firing questions here and there. Who's the president? What year is it? Just to give you this feeling of like you got to explain yourself that you're not crazy, when that's not the issue at all. The issue is to get you to answer questions with something other than a question. And they might even like me, because it was on that first time, they went ahead and just put me in a cell. Couldn't get a picture, and then took the fingerprints, and then put me in a cell. And for the next 4, 5, 6 hours, I'm sitting in a cell. It could have been a little longer, because I actually got picked up around 2 in the afternoon. It wasn't until like 10 or 11 that night I got taken to a cell. But I got put in a partial cell so much, so I was out of there, 40-minute drive down there, hour and a half in the front area, and then the rest of the time in a cell, so whatever that would amount to. So and they're trying to get me to get dressed, and I'm doing things. So they finally come in and put the boxers on me, and then they put me in a cell, and the next day the 4 gals came by, and the rapid response team and the sergeant to shake my hand. All that happened the next day. So they might, because they can hold you up to 72 hours. They're not likely to hold any of you for traffic stops and those kinds of things without getting a little jurisdiction. And remember what booking is.